Hello all and welcome back to Sentinels How-Tos. Today I'll be teaching you how to play Doctor Medico. He is the healer and support character, one of many, and he's a complexity 3 hero. So he's kind of difficult to learn how to play, but if you can learn how to play him good, then he's really, really good support character. So, yeah, he has no unique keywords. All his cards are either ongoings, 5 out of 7 of which are limited, and he has like 8 different one-shots. So let's just jump into it. He's mainly a healer character with a significantly low amount of HP. 24. It's certainly an amount. Okay, so his innate power, Clinical Consult. Select a target. The next time that target regains HP, increase the amount regained by 2. That is a pretty decent power for what he does. Like, if anyone that would be healed needs just that little bit extra health, he can certainly give that to them. But it can be kind of difficult to keep track of, who is going to be regaining 2 extra HP whenever they regain, well, the next time they gain HP. So something I like to do is I will take the tokens and I'll just place 2 down next to the target I selected, and I would remember that the next time that hero would regain HP, they would also add this to it. So, like, if someone were to regain 1 HP, you just add all 3 instead. Something like that. But also, sometimes you'll select a hero target, or any target rather, and they may not regain HP for a while. An easy fix is when you use that power on them again is to just add more tokens. And know that when they would regain HP, they just add all of that to themselves. That is the easiest way I found to keep track of the targets selected for extra regaining HP. You just got to remember to keep that separate from your health. And then you should be good, until you regain the HP. So, that's how his power do. Probably the longest I've talked about an innate power, maybe, possibly. Let's move on to his ongoing cards. There are 7 different kinds. We have Back from the Brink. There are 2 copies of this card. When damage would reduce a hero to 0 or fewer HP, you may prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, each hero target regains 2 HP. Then remove this card from the game. So, since that card would be removed from the game after the effect would happen, you just got two chances of doing that. You can't cheese the game and to do it infinite times. So, yeah, whenever someone would be reduced to death amounts of HP, just prevent the damage that would have reduced them to that, and then everyone regains some HP, and then say goodbye to that card and just put it back in the box. It's a pretty good card for saving people, especially if you know someone's gonna die and you don't want them to die. Also, they're not limited, so you can have as many in play as you want. Then there's Prescription Strength. There are 3 copies of this card. Not limited also, so you could have all of them in play. At the start of each hero's turn, you may destroy this card. When this card is destroyed, select a hero target. That target regains 3 HP. Increase damage dealt by that target this turn by 1. So say that you have that in play, and then it's the start of another hero's turn, specifically maybe the damage dealer. You'd be like, hey, damage dealer hero, I can destroy this now and then select you so that you can deal even more damage this turn if you want. And then, of course, your damage dealer would probably all like, sure, but, you know, only sometimes. You gotta use it at the right moments. Some moments are better than other moments, obviously. But it's still really good just dealing a bit of extra damage. And you can have all those in play at once. So you could just destroy all of them at the start of the damage dealer's turn and select him 3 times to increase his damage dealt this turn by 3. And that's pretty good. Next we have Universal Donor. 2 copies of this card. Whenever Doctor Medico is dealt damage, a hero target other than Doctor Medico regains 1 HP. Power, 1 target regains 2 HP. So for that, whenever he's dealt damage bit, that's just really good in general. You'll want to kind of keep this card in play as long as possible if you want. And as for that power, it's kind of the better version of Clinical Consult in a way, because instead of just saying the next time you regain HP, it's increased by 2, it's saying that, hey, you just regained 2 HP. And that's pretty good. So always have one of those in play if you can. Next up we have Experimental Medicine. 3 copies of this card. At the start of your turn, Dr. Medico may deal himself 2 toxic damage. If he does not take damage this way, destroy this card. Damage dealt by Dr. Medico is irreducible and cannot be increased. Increase HP recovery cost by your cards and powers by 1. And that's the main part of this card. That middle bit is also pretty good too. So if you want and if you can, try to have one of these in play as long as possible too, because yeah, you'd be dealing yourself 2 damage every round, but it's worth it for extra HP recovery, and your damage cannot be increased or reduced, especially by any other heroes like Legacy that would be like, hey, all heroes, all your damage is increased. Well, then you can be like, no, I'm just gonna deal myself the normal amount of damage. Plus, if you were to deal an enemy damage that has a damage reducing effect, well, your damage is irreducible, so you can just do it the normal amount of damage, and that's really good too. So despite the fact that you'll be dealing yourself 2 toxic damage each turn, you have such low HP, it's really good, and it kind of doesn't mean much if you have a Healing Pulse in play. Healing Pulse, 3 copies of this card. At the end of your turn, up to 3 targets regain 1 HP each. So you could select yourself as one of those targets and regain the 2 HP that you just lost. So it's like you had the same amount of HP at the end of your turn that you started with before you damaged yourself. Also power. Dr. Medico deals himself 2 energy damage. Each hero character card other than Dr. Medico regains 2 HP. So yeah, that power is like a hurt yourself a little bit to heal your friends a lot a bit kind of a deal. And that's pretty good too. Yeah, this character a lot of times you'll want to be able and willing to sacrifice some of your HP in order to heal your heroes a bit or allow them to do cool stuff. You can even allow people to use powers, and that's really cool. So don't think of HP as a life force, mostly. Think of it more like a resource that you don't want to run out. If you think of it that way, you'll probably be a little more willing to play some of the cards and powers that would hurt yourself to benefit others a lot. Besides, if you're running low on HP, just play a regeneration. Easy fix. Regeneration, there's 3 copies of this card. At the start of your turn, draw 2 cards, use a power, and destroy this card. At the end of each turn, Doctor Medico regains 2 HP. So, after you play this, at the end of your turn, you regain 2 HP. And at the end of the next person's turn, you regain 2 HP. And at the end of the next person's turn, you gain 2 HP, all the way up until it was the start of your turn again, in which you would then draw 2 cards, use a power, and then destroy this card, and then continue with the rest of your play phase. It's a good way to regain HP, especially if you have that in play, in which case you'd be regaining 3 at the end of each turn instead of 2. So these are a really good card. Next, we have Second Opinion. There are 3 copies of this card. At the start of your turn, Doctor Medico may deal one target 3 energy damage. If he deals damage this way, destroy this card. Whenever a hero would regain 3 or more HP, they may use a power instead. So, this is good to have in play as often as you can, in case if anyone, instead of wanting to regain HP, wants to use an extra power this turn, or if at the start of your turn you're like, hey, that enemy needs to be dealt just 3 extra damage, why don't I just do that real quick? That's also really good. So, yeah. I highly recommend keeping that card in play as long as you can. Unless you need to do that start of turn bit, in which case, that is completely okay. Next up, we have his one-shots. 6 out of 8 of his one-shots damage himself to do some cool stuff. So again, you got to be willing to damage yourself at least a little bit. You can always regain it back later, hopefully. But it's the effects and outcomes are really good. So starting off with Immunization. There are 2 copies of this card. Doctor Medico deals each hero character card other than himself 1 irreducible energy damage. Targets dealt damage this way are immune to damage until the start of your turn. So this one is not exactly a deal yourself damage one, it's more of a deal your friends some damage. But it's just 1, so it's okay. Besides, they'd be immune to damage until the start of your next turn after doing this, so it's kind of really good, especially if you know that someone, or everyone, is about to be dealt a lot of damage. So, play that smartly when you need to. And if that situation where everyone would be dealt a lot of damage and you know it does not come up, maybe just do it when you feel it, and then you won't take damage for the rest of the round. So, yeah. Next up we have Life Force of Will. Doctor Medico... There's 2 copies of this card. Doctor Medico deals himself 2 energy damage. Each hero character card other than Doctor Medico may either regain 2 HP or use a power. That one is also really good for possibly allowing everyone to heal a bit or just do a bunch of cool stuff right now. Like a few of his cards allow people to use powers, so this one is a good, hey, everyone can do that now kind of one. There's only 2 copies of it though, so use it when you need, or just use it to get the upper hand, or whenever you see fit or feel like it. Next we have Preventative Care. There's 2 copies of this card. Select a target other than Doctor Medico. Prevent the next damage that would be dealt to that target. You may draw a card, and then you may play a card. Again, really good if you know someone, at least one person, is about to be dealt a bit of damage. Just play this card, select them, prevent it, draw a card, and play another card. Really good card. Not much to say about that. Then there's Triage. There's 2 copies of this card. Dr. Medico deals himself 2 energy damage. Discard a card. Either restore 1 active hero character card to 10 HP, or 1 target regains 4 HP. So that one is pretty good, because if someone's running really low, you can just set them back up to 10 HP, or just heal them for 4. So that's really good. I used to think that restoring an active hero character card meant if they were like dead, you could flip them back to being alive and then heal them for 10. But no, it specifically says active, and when they're dead, they're not exactly active. So, my mistake on that, but I've since learned. But it's still a really good card, especially if some people are running low. Also, that restoring to 10 HP one, that does not say heal them up to 10, it just says restore them to 10, which means the plus 1 HP recovery would not be increased by this. That would mean the same for his innate power too. In fact, increase the next amount regained by 2, it would not really be 2. Well, I mean, it would still be 2, it would not be 3. That's what I was trying to say. Because it's just increasing the next, this is increasing the next bit by 2. It's not saying healing for 2, and this only increases the healing. So that just adds 2, and that just restores to 10. It does not say heal up to 10, so it does not increase to 11. Just to make that clear. Next we have Doctor's Orders. There's 3 copies of this card. Dr. Medico deals himself 1 energy damage. 1 hero character card other than Dr. Medico regains 2 HP. That hero may use a power. Really good for being like, hey, you regain some HP and use a power. Instead of this one where he's like, hey, everyone, choose one or the other. And that one's really good too. But so is this one. And there's more copies of it. So it's going to be a little more common. Again, please don't be too afraid to do yourself just 1 bit of damage. It's going to be okay. Then we have Intensive Care. There's 3 copies of this card. Dr. Medico deals himself 2 energy damage. A hero target other than Dr. Medico regains 2 HP. Reduce the next damage dealt to that target by 2. Draw up to 2 cards. Really good for anyone who might be pretty low and about to be dealt some damage, whether you know it or not. And it gets you more cards, so it's pretty good. Just don't be afraid about that damage dealing part. It's gonna be okay. It's a really good card. So yeah. Not much more to say about that either. Then we have Positive Prognosis. There's 3 copies of this card. Dr. Medico deals himself 1 energy damage. Each player may draw a card. Each hero character card regains 1 HP. This would include himself, so that damage that you'd be dealing yourself, don't worry about it too much, you regain it right back. And everyone gets to draw a card too, so. And that HP recovery could be 2 instead of 1 if you had that in play. So all the good stuff. Last card we have, Flare Up. There's 4 copies of this card. Doctor Medico deals 1 target 3 energy damage. Doctor Medico and 1 other hero target regains 1 HP. That's a good quick damage dealing card, and also a little bit of regaining HP. So, bonus. And again, these 2 damage dealing cards that he has, one that could act at the start of his turn and one that could act when he plays it, are especially not just good as dealing damage, but also specifically dealing damage to targets that may have damage reducing effects. If you had that in play, your damage could be irreducible. I'm just saying, this is a really good card. Don't skip out on it. Those are all his cards. A little bit of a setup I like to have. I like to always have that, and that into play. So whenever you'd be dealt damage, you could allow 1 target other than yourself to regain not 1, but since you had this in play, 2 HP. And also, you don't have to worry about the damage dealing part for this card if you had that in play, because you could select yourself and 2 other friends as the 3 targets to all regain not 1, but 2 HP. Or this HP decrease also... Recrease? I said recrease. I meant increase. The damage, the HP recovery increase helps you to use this power, not a power, this bit that allows people to use powers. Why am I stumbling over my words? The world may never know. Also, you could use this as a power because you could allow 1 target to regain not 2, but again, 3 HP, which instead of regaining that HP, you could allow someone to use a power instead. So all that is really good. I also suggest, in case if something goes awry, in case if anyone might die, you play From the Brink. You just keep that in play. Also really good. And play these when you want someone to be dealing a bit of extra damage on their turn. You can even save up on them to wait till you have all 3 in play and then destroy them all at the start of the damage dealer's turn. So yeah, all this is really good. Remember to regain a bunch of HP when you need. This card does not damage yourself, so don't worry about it. If you're low, play it. Don't be afraid to do yourself damage for any of these cool one-shots that you have access to. It's really good, and just it's gonna be okay. If you get low, play that card, or just use some of your powers to focus on yourself for a little bit and heal yourself. And again, for this one, healing someone for 3 is just really good too. Or you could do yourself 2 damage as a power with the healing pulse to allow each hero character card other than yourself to regain 2, but then 3 HP if you had this in play. Or you could allow them all to use powers instead. That is also an option and is their choice. So yeah. Don't worry about dealing yourself 2 toxic damage at the start of your turn every round, because it don't matter if you have the healing pulse in play and you keep selecting yourself at the end of your turn. There's not much more to say about him. Just try to play him smart, and managing health is the main issue about this. And also, most people get turned off by the idea of having to do yourself damage to do cool things, which is another reason why he's a little bit difficult to learn to play. but he's not that bad. Incapacitated abilities are: one player may draw a card, one target regains 2 HP, or up to 3 hero targets regain 1 HP each. There's not much more I have to say about him. He's a support character for healing and for allowing other people to use powers, and occasionally allowing everyone to draw a card. Or protecting them from being dead. Or increasing someone's HP for a turn. Or making them immune to damage. All of this and more. He's not that bad, but probably one of the most difficult heroes. Complex heroes to learn to play. So, there's not much more to say about him. Hope you learned something. I'm Base Flash, this is Doctor Medico, and I will see you all next episode with the gunslinging expatriate. See ya, stay healthy.